Hi there. I can't tell if this is working. Seems to be the way things go. I haven't made a video in a really long time, so I kind of wanted to check in on people. I'm outside in a very big apartment complex, so there may be lots of things going on. People playing tennis in the background. Actually, the Level and Bike Trail is right behind me. So there'll be lots of people on that too as well. But one of the reasons I haven't been on here in so long is there's just been so much going on, and a really big component in that has been all the people sharing massive kind of information to wake people up. It's kind of been getting to me. I have been accused of sticking my head in the sand and not wanting to see it, but what I think people are failing to understand is I woke up decades before this now second wave of awakening that's going on, so it can be a little bit disheartening. And I've seen that many people that have been studying information for a decade or a couple of decades or even the last 7 years are kind of at a point where it's depressing. To be honest, it's really been sad and depressing, and not knowing how to handle what's been going on has been a really big thing going on within the first wave. Do we continue to post the positivity, the activations, the information that is the now current moment? Or do we continue to reiterate the past and the corruption when there are so many other people doing that? I don't think it's wrong to do that, because this happens in waves. So the second wave that's now doing that is now affecting and awakening the third wave to a degree. But it's kind of to a small degree right now, and the reason for that is when you have trauma in your life, if you've ever experienced severe trauma, and I have a couple times, what happens is the open part of your brain that's normally open on a regular basis, not in trauma, is not open anymore. What happens when you are in a traumatic situation is that the part of the brain that accepts new information does not accept new information. Now, I don't feel traumatized by the majority of the things that are going on right now, but let's remember, we do have people seeing a lot of things that they've never seen or heard before from us, and at the same time they are getting inundated from mainstream media and now even alternative media also on top of that. So if you throw a post out there to wake somebody up, plant a seed or whatever, it's, in my observation, I can never want to be the one to tell someone else what to do, but in my observation, throwing it out there is like, throw it out there in a way that it doesn't need to come back to you, right? Planting seeds is not the same thing as playing with a boomerang. It shouldn't matter whether it comes back to you or not. So if that's the position that you're in, is doing those things, just know that that part of the brain doesn't work in a situation of trauma. Right now, a lot of the world is in the space of trauma, or in the space of some kind of traumatic accident because of the inundation of news, politics, vaccinations, corruption, agendas, all of those things. There isn't any place you can go to get away from that. Certainly not on any social media platform. So just be patient with people. And my suggestion is to those people that can't plant a seed and walk away, or plant a seed and stay in positivity, it's better right now just to not do it. And the reason for that is we have many different vibrations within the human body on the planet. We have many different vibrations in the plants and animals and all of sentient life right now. If I need to drop my vibration a significant amount to try to help someone understand or explain something to them, I am lowering my frequency to do that. Now, if I was the only person on planet Earth, most certainly I would step up and do that job. But there are probably millions of people that are doing that job right now. So we don't all have to do the same thing. There has been so much polarity and so much fighting and so much within every community on social media. It's really hard to stomach it. And like I said, one of the things to do is post that and just let it go. Don't be attached to the outcome of what someone's going to say or someone's going to do or how they're going to react or if you're going to wake them up. And I've been seeing this on both sides of the fence now. We have a large group of people that think that the corruption needs to be perpetuated 24/7. And then we have another group of people that feel that what is important is the activations. So which one of those groups is right? Well, the thing is that neither group is right. We didn't all come here to make the same choice, and we didn't all make the same choice before we came here about what we were going to do. Okay, so if I had a job to do 2 years ago, that doesn't mean that's my job today on Friday. It's not. It's an ever-evolving process. Everything about ascension, everything about New Earth is all evolution. So why would we want to do the same job decade after decade after decade? And I never stand up to the people that tell me that I have my head in the sand. But it's so ironic because there were so many people, Michaelina Voss, Aluna Kay, so many people out there in our Facebook feed and in our social media platform feeds that started sharing these things on a much smaller scale in a private group or under a different name that somebody didn't recognize when it started. It's been going on for decades, but it really started this movement 8 or 9 years ago on social media platforms, and people were doing that, and they were posting anonymously, or they were posting in groups, or they were posting in somewhere where they could be protected and not be attacked. So to anybody that that really thinks they have it difficult right now, I will say to you to realize that the front line of the people doing this, and that includes people writing books and giving lectures and all of these other things, the people on that front line were doing it. We're facing so much more ridicule, condemnation, and everything else that goes along with that for posting these things. Now it's like, at least when you say something, the majority of people, even if they don't agree with you, they've heard the term of it. So you're not giving them something completely and totally new most of the time. But with that being said, it's just so important to know that it is my job to do one thing today. Tomorrow it may be my job to do a completely different job. I don't have the right. I don't have the... I'm not sure what the best term is for it. Right is... to say I don't have the right is really the incorrect term. But I shouldn't be telling someone else to do. The only person that knows what they should be doing right now is you. So you do what you need to do and don't let other people tell you what to do or what not to do. There are thousands of different job categories right now, and we all can't be, nor should we want to be, in the same category with each other, because that really doesn't help. You know, that's like going to school and going from homeroom to 8 different math classes instead of taking the rest of the subjects. So I just think that's a really important thing. Really recognize, oh, I don't think what that person is doing is right, or that's information from 20 years ago, or things like that, because we all at our different pace, we're all at a different space energetically. That doesn't mean that anybody is right or wrong. Like I said, I can't say this enough. We all have different jobs and different opportunities in different moments, and we have to focus on the moment of now. And, you know, that's something that we've heard over and over and over again. But right now, even if you've been studying for 20 years, what's going on can be extremely overwhelming. I know it has been extremely overwhelming for me. I've seen the people, some of the people that have been on my same wavelength disappear completely in the last couple months, and just not be on social media at all. Maybe reach out through Messenger every once in a while or something like that. But yeah, it's really important that we respect each other. Division is not going to get the end result that we all know is coming. And we do know it's coming, and we have to trust that it's coming, and we have to get there by doing this, absolutely doing this together. There's just no other way to do that. So that's the first thing that I wanted to say. I get so much information and so many messages that I have decided, in lieu of making notes, which I normally do just because I can't stand to watch somebody who hasn't put any thought or organization into making a video or doing those kinds of things. But it seems like I'm able to more clearly be a channel for what needs to be said if I'm not doing it that way. So I'm just doing this totally unprepared. No one cares, right? I did post earlier today about some things that I had seen. I had gone swimming with my family, and I closed my eyes when we were sitting in the sand on the beach, and I had seen a DNA, like a ribbon of DNA going from the sun to the earth, and just, wow, I can't even tell you. And I've seen these ribbons of DNA. I think I've been including them or putting them in the artwork and some of the drawings that I've been doing since probably like 2015. First, the DNA started out with dots in the center of it, and then it went to like regular DNA with lines in the center of it. But what I saw the other day on the beach is that when the sun produced this ribbon of DNA, when I closed my eyes and looked at it, it was going directly to the earth. It was pulsing. The sun was feeding this new DNA template to the earth, like whoomp, whoomp, whoomp. And then right after it started, each rung that went up and down that DNA sprung out like fingers or arms and just started spinning around the DNA itself. So if you imagine a DNA, just a picture that you could find anywhere of a DNA ladder and what each rung looks like. The rung had actually grew like a tentacle or antenna, something like that, but six or seven different arms. It looked like, I'm not sure, I think it was 7, but it grew arms and it just started spinning. And I thought, wow, that's really incredible. But I've been kind of keeping everything to myself recently. It seemed to be that the higher vibrational information was getting lost in some of the lower vibrational things that were going on. I wanted to wait till it was the right time to talk about it. So that was last week. And then just 3 days ago, I laid down to rest, and I saw the inside of my body, and I saw the DNA strands, and the exact same thing was going on. The DNA spiral was running north to south. The rungs of the ladder had all produced like tentacles, or like looked like fiber optic branches on some of those fiber optic Christmas trees, and then just started spinning. So that was pretty wild. And I did happen to just by synchronicity find a picture that actually looked like that, which was kind of shocking to me. So I added that to the post earlier. And it's a rainbow light. So when I saw that, I thought, wow, this is really cool. And I've never seen anything, and of course, silly me thinking I could Google it using all these creative words to see maybe somebody else saw it, or maybe this was a real thing that I just wasn't aware of. But, you know, of course that didn't happen. But anyway, that was really wild and totally fascinating. And so if anybody wonders where this kind of dizziness is coming from, remember you've got an incredible centrifugal force going on in the exact center of your body. It's causing a lot of spinning motion. If you could see inside your body, you would understand why you were so tired. If you could see inside your body, you would understand why you feel dizzy, why you feel lightheaded, while also you may be experiencing very little appetite. But the few people that I've talked to about the DNA activations are actually hungrier than normal, because it's almost like the centrifugal force is burning off a bunch of extra calories, even if you're not doing anything particularly laborious or arduous at the time. So that is pretty fascinating. And when I saw it go from the sun to the earth, and I saw that DNA, I was so focused on the DNA, I didn't focus on anything else. And like I said, I had not written about it. And then in my feed, I think it was Brian Hopkins, had shared a post from somebody else, and she had seen the same thing, but she didn't see it from the sun or the inside of the body. She saw the grid was actually doing it. The grid was making like a fiber optic expansive DNA arm off of it. And I thought, oh, holy crap. I mean, as above, so below, not to overuse that term, but really, the same thing is going on in all of these spaces, where it's the universe is nothing but a mirror. So every time you see a vision that happens to be outside the body, no, that's happening in the body. You see a vision or hear something that's going on inside your body, know that that's going on also on a planet, on a planetary scale as well. Ooh, it's very warm out here. And it's gotten incredibly quiet, which might be good. Another thing that I want that kind of goes with that. There's been a lot of very strange things. In the last video, I did make a video about some of the strange things that me and my mom had been experiencing. And some of those things I really didn't understand until talking to Evan last night about the dog attack and why some of those things happened. This has been like 8 months, and I was never able to see with any kind of clarity, partially because of the trauma and partially because I didn't have the current information about what is now going on. So what he and I did when he came here was we walked back to the spot where that happened, and it is actually at a place called Grailville. It's the Holy Grail. We got knocked down and attacked by the dogs by the chalice cup of the Grail. Talk about bizarre. Anyway, we went back and walked over that area and intentionally cleaned the trauma of that area. Still at that point not knowing why that had happened. But I had a couple of strange messages that we hadn't quite figured out. I would say a couple weeks, maybe a month before that. One was Albuquerque by the book. Well, we had done a little bit of homework and found out that Chaco Canyon and some other places in Albuquerque were these main sites where these very primitive tribes, and I won't even say how far back they go because I don't think anybody can even agree on that, but I believe it was the Anasazi were there at one point. I don't know who the original settlers were, and I'm not sure that anybody knows, but there were hieroglyphs left all over the place. So when I got this message, Albuquerque by the book, we were actually reading a book, a story about the Wingmakers. And if anybody wants information on that, I don't remember it all, but if you want it, I can look it up and give it to you. But anyway, when he was reading that to me, he was reading that to me every night because it was an awesome book, but also because I was trying to get past the fear from the dog stuff. And so reading at night was a great way to do it. But every time he started reading this book, I started getting messages about Albuquerque, about hieroglyphs, petroglyphs. I guess it's petroglyphs, not hieroglyphs, or nothing caves. But anyway, so extremely interesting. So fast forward to now, we have the grid turned on, we have the DNA turned on, and we didn't understand the Albuquerque message until now. First of all, as you guys probably know, because there are so many grid workers and so many portal openers here, that these portals are all open, but once they're open, there is the ability to do certain things. And we've spent years and years and years opening the portals and clearing the grids and doing that. That stuff is all gone. So now we're starting to connect to other things. But for some reason, this Albuquerque message was tied to a time where we would understand once that DNA changed into the new structure, the new fiber optic spinning structure. That was when we were actually going to understand this part of it. So, maybe a week or so after getting the message about Albuquerque by the book, he started reading to me one night, and I was like, wait a minute, you got to stop because I am seeing faces. And he said, what do you mean you're seeing faces? And I said, I'm seeing all kinds of faces. And I see myself standing between some rock formations, and up in the sky, almost like a projector, was a light, and then a face of a being would appear, and it would stay there for maybe 6 or 7 seconds, long enough to see that completely human-like, yet definitely different races. So the face would appear there for a couple seconds, and then it would disappear, and then a new face would come up, and it would disappear, and a new face would come up, and I saw, I don't know, 25, 30 faces, and I said, man, what is going on with these faces? Well, we had been told previously that the Grail portal and all these portals were somehow connected to each other, right? And I have been writing about, making videos about the fact that there is a template for the original human being and all sentient life, and it is in the core of the planet. And it's one of the reasons that this planet is so extremely sought after. It holds all the information for the original, true, untampered with human form. So, I asked, what are these beings doing there? And the answer was that every original race template is stored within the template of planet Earth's core. And so by these faces appearing in Chaco Canyon, they were in direct alignment with that portal. Ooh, I just got the chills. So they were in direct, their face would appear, they were in the portal, and then their template, their DNA, their entire avataric makeup would connect with the template in the core, and it was rewriting the DNA. It was clearing the DNA. It was resetting, I guess is the best word. It was resetting the DNA. So at the time when I saw this, probably end of March, beginning of April, I thought, wow, this is totally incredible. And if you guys could have seen, this was just incredible. I can't even describe it with words. Just seeing all those different races appear for their genetic reset or upgrade to the original template. Like I said, I thought that was happening then at the time I was witnessing, but through talking to Evan last night, we realized, oh, holy crap, that's what this Albuquerque by the book is about. They were waiting for the rainbow template, the fiber optic template within is actually stored in the core, but the sun hitting the core and that interaction with the DNA caused that fiber optic code to come out and spread across the grid. It caused it to spread out and mutate within us. All of these things at the same time. So then what we realized is it wasn't then, because oftentimes, and if I didn't write things down, I wouldn't know this, but I get things 6 months to 2 years in advance most of the time. There are exceptions to that. Sometimes I will see something and it will happen in 2 days. So that can be, I'm going to be completely honest, that part can be very confusing when I say something. Did I see that right now? Has it already happened in the past? Probably just somehow connecting to Akashic information. But we very strongly feel that this is going to happen now, that these faces are going to, I'm sure that was just something that was shown to me as a way to understand it. I doubt faces are going to appear over the rock, but I'm not sure. Anything's possible, right? But when I asked about this happening, they said, look at the petroglyphs in the rocks. So Evan and I started looking at the petroglyphs in the rocks. So there's all kinds of human-like, very unusual stars, planets, faces, animals, things that we've not seen on this planet before, or not for a really long time anyway. So the thing is, it's getting ready to happen. So that's, I guess, it's going to happen very soon. It's already started happening. Again, time frames are very difficult for me. I may experience something, somebody might have experienced it last week, and somebody else might experience it next week. So it's unclear about that part. Where all of this has led us to, Albuquerque by the book, was I am actually going to drive to Michigan with my friend Kim, and we are going to go stay at a beautiful lake and spend 4 days grounding, where I'm told that we will get our set of instructions for the trip we are supposed to take to Chaco Canyon. That's right, Chaco Canyon. So we will be able to check out all those petroglyphs and stuff in person, which is going to be absolutely amazing. And again, that is so cool that they told me all of those pictures carved inside those rocks are there because that's what the native people saw over that portal. And I thought, well, that's what I'm seeing over that portal right now. So anyway, I know a bunch of you are having some very interesting experiences just like I am. So yes. So we're now planning our trip to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Chaco Canyon. That's going to be amazing. I think we got to go through Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri, if I remember right, because this is partially the same trek that I did to LA and back. So we will be on 40 West or in the area of 40 West, through Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico. If anybody on my feed lives in that area, or Evan Ansat's feed lives in that area, between Indiana and New Mexico, please let us know. I've had several visitors that I've been talking to for years. It's been absolutely amazing. So if anybody wants to get together and do that, that would be totally incredible. Let us know. We're planning that, and we're probably going to leave. It's going to be like the first week of September. All right. I know this world seems a little bit upside down right now. It does help, I think, for us to know that there are other people that see the beauty and the changes and the magnificent things that are happening along with the other things that are happening. And I will say, without the bank defaults, without these things that are coming up in our newsfeed on social media, those that have known for a while know we don't have to really get sucked into it or buy into it or anything. But these 3D happenings that we're seeing all over the place, they are milestones. They are landmarks for what we've known for a really long time was going to happen. So it's happening. This is exciting. Good, bad, and ugly. I'd like to focus on helping each other. I know people have a tendency to see things or hear things and think they're absolutely bonkers, but I'm here to tell you there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people seeing and hearing and feeling things, and lots of those people don't want to talk about it. So you'll be surprised if you start talking about it, that really is going on.